Okay, no time to waste, let's do this. I don't know if you've noticed, but we live in a world that's complete and utter chaos. From top to bottom, from left to right. Don't believe me? That might be because, in general, at school we learn a very simplified version of what this world is, and it doesn't represent what actually happens. As you graduate from school, let's say high school, it may still seem like your country has got it down, or like you have systems in place that are doing their job, or like you've come a long way. But nothing could be further from the truth. It's not that hard to discover the truth, just listen to the news for a day and you'll have a bit of an understanding of just how many things go wrong here. But it's really not until we experience something ourselves that we start to understand, because news, as real and as raw as they are, they're distant. They come out of our radio or our TV or as we're browsing online, and they're not here. It's a bit like reading a novel, it's just not here. And then the more you start thinking about what you remember from school, which is nothing, and the more you start thinking about where our money comes from, which is nowhere, you start realizing that we've really messed up. Like, seriously. And there's something I call the pyramid of lies too. It turns out lies can have several layers or levels, like in a building. So at first you discover the first level and you're sad but still satisfied that you've discovered it. And then your patience gets tested as new events occur and you discover new layers of lies. Sometimes it's just mistakes, not lies too. This can very much happen in everyday life, and it's the force that keeps people from trying new things, especially if your budget is tight, because you don't want to risk it and end up having to purchase something 2 times. Humans also do a lot of things that appear to be helpful and at the same time are a technological achievement, and yet they forget to look at some other factors. For instance, take the also advertised Disney Plus streaming service that just launched and has failed already, got hacked. Or take the smart home devices that are basically just an invitation for hackers and thieves. Or take the gene editing programs that we're trying to introduce just because we can, and yet no one thinks whether we should. Or take a look at all the things that we're doing already with our food and meat production. And as we go on in time, I feel that technology is going to be putting us in danger more and more. And the radical views of conservatives and liberals are only going to get more radical. And God knows where we'll end up. No one knows that. But what we should be doing, that seems so obvious to me, and yet we haven't taken care of it still, is with any product, any service, and even life itself, the most important thing is the overall experience of the user. Meaning that you, being a business, should have a bunch of people at hand to use the service and then to deliver you a comprehensive description of what it was like from the beginning to end. Furthermore, most services and products don't work on their own. They need other services and products, and we have utterly failed to take that into account. Which is where misunderstandings happen and then dissatisfied customers give you 1-star reviews. Which is also why companies that are introducing all-around deals and packages and things like that are beginning to take over the market. People are simply too tired and too busy to put all the parts together on their own. If they have funds, they're willing to spend them, but they want full service. Which I think the more time passes, the more full service options will reign the market. This is all because there is too much and yet not enough information out there. To be more precise, the information that you're looking for is hidden or it is not available at all. If you just ask consumers, they would happily tell you what it is that's important to them and what so often just isn't there. And you'd be surprised at their answers. For example, most people would rather have a computer that can only access simplified versions of websites and can only open a few apps, if in return that computer would never freeze, would never have annoying pop-ups, would never disconnect from the internet, would never require you to go into settings and fix something by yourself, would never require you to call a customer service line because something broke or you don't know how it works. If that was the case and if the computer was reasonably priced, then everyone, I guarantee you, everyone would go to the stores and purchase a computer like that because people are just frustrated with technology sometimes. And they have good reasons to. With phones, some people go for Nokias or phones that resemble a military type device only because they want them to function and for more than 2 years. Obviously, this all isn't the case if you're well off because then you just don't pay attention to these things. But if you're middle class, you do. Let's just hope that we can convince people somehow with time that middle class isn't so bad, the normal life isn't so bad, and it's much better than the alternative, which is for the wealth gap to keep growing and for the filthy rich to stay filthy rich and to get richer, and then for the poor to stay poor and basically, yeah. It is a better option to create systems that work for everyone rather than create more and more exclusive services that only work for the rich and to leave the poor to themselves. And I hope that we can all come to that conclusion one day and agree on that. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Bye.